Imagine stepping outside and seeing not one, but two suns blazing in the sky. The world you know would vanish in an instant. Nights erased, oceans boiling, life itself forced to evolve or vanish. But this isn't just science fiction. Across the universe, countless planets already orbit twin stars. So what if Earth joined them? Tonight, we dive into two suns, one Earth. It sounds like a scene ripped straight from Star Wars Tatooine's famous double sunset. But this isn't fantasy. In fact, astronomers have discovered that binary star systems, solar systems with not one, but two stars, are surprisingly common in our galaxy. Nearly half of the stars we see in the night sky are actually part of such pairs, which means out there, countless planets already live under two suns. But what would happen if Earth, our Earth, were suddenly placed in such a system? To answer that, we first need to understand what binary stars really are. In astronomy, there are several types of binary systems. Some stars orbit close together, so close that they share matter, constantly tearing gas and plasma from each other. Others orbit at vast distances, hundreds of millions of miles apart, gently circling one another for billions of years. To a planet orbiting these stars, the effects could be catastrophic or strangely stable. Everything depends on where the planet is and how the stars dance around one another. Now, let's imagine Earth caught in this cosmic duet. Currently, our planet orbits one star, the Sunday. This provides us with a relatively stable, predictable environment. Seasons, climate, the length of a year, all are set by this delicate balance between Earth and its lone Sunday. But add a second star, and the rules change instantly. Earth's orbit would no longer be a perfect ellipse. It could be pulled, stretched, even ripped apart by the competing gravity of two stellar giants. Instead of the calm rhythm of spring, summer, fall, and winter, we might face chaotic shifts, years of blistering heat followed by decades of frozen winters. Civilization, as we know it, would be pushed to the breaking point. But the danger doesn't end with the orbit. Light itself would transform our world. With two suns in the sky, darkness would almost disappear. Imagine a planet where night never truly falls. Instead of the comfort of stars and moonlight, our skies would glow endlessly, painted with the fire of twin suns. That constant exposure would throw the natural rhythms of life's circadian cycles into chaos. Humans, animals, plants, all rely on the cycle of day and night. Break that cycle, and biology itself begins to collapse. Sleep patterns fail, crops struggle to grow, migratory animals lose their way. Even our psychology, shaped for millions of years by the rising and setting of a single sun, would face an alien new reality. And then there's the heat. A second sun doesn't just mean more light, it means more energy. Even if the second star were smaller than our own, the extra radiation would bake our world. Ice caps would melt faster than we could imagine. Seas would rise, swallowing coastlines, drowning cities. Deserts would spread like wildfire. The Earth could quickly become a hostile wasteland, more like Venus than the blue-green planet we call home. Unless, by some stroke of cosmic luck, the stars balanced each other perfectly, placing Earth in just the right position, the habitable zone of two suns. Then, and only then, might life endure. But that life would be nothing like the life we know. Throughout history, humans have looked at the sun as the source of life. Ancient civilizations worshipped it as a god. But two suns? To them, it might have been paradise or hell. And yet today, in distant star systems, astronomers really do see planets orbiting twin suns. Kepler 16 billion reals, for example, is a planet 200 light years away that circles not one, but two stars. To its surface, the sunsets would be spectacular. Two fiery orbs sinking into the horizon. Science fiction made real. But unlike Earth, Kepler 16 billion reals. To understand the impact of two suns, let's start with gravity, the invisible force that keeps Earth in its orbit. With one sun, our orbit is stable, predictable, and life-friendly. With two, everything changes. Earth would be tugged back and forth like a toy caught between giants. If the second sun were close, Earth's orbit could become chaotic, stretched into long, unstable paths. That means instead of neat seasons, we'd face wild swings, burning summers, followed by frozen winters lasting decades. Agriculture, ecosystems, entire civilizations could collapse under the stress of unpredictability. But what if the second sun were farther away? In some binary systems, planets orbit around both stars at once, circling them as a pair. In this scenario, Earth might find a new balance, but it would come at a cost. A year might no longer last 365 days. It could stretch to hundreds, even thousands of days, depending on the orbit. Imagine generations growing up under one endless summer, followed by centuries of winter darkness. Human calendars, history, even the rhythm of society would fracture under such extreme cycles. Then comes the light. On our Earth, night is more than rest, it's a biological necessity. Every living thing, from humans to plants, relies on the rise and fall of the Sunday. Without night, our internal clocks, circadian rhythms begin to fail. Sleep disorders would spread, mental health would deteriorate, crops that rely on periods of darkness for growth might wither. Migratory animals guided by the stars would lose their maps. A world with two suns might shine brightly, but at the cost of life's balance. And let's not forget the heat. A second sun means a flood of extra energy. Even if it's smaller than our current sun, the added radiation would cook our world. The Arctic and Antarctic, our planet's natural ice shields, would vanish. Sea levels would rise hundreds of feet, drowning coastal cities from New York to Tokyo. Deserts would expand, swallowing farmland, driving billions from their homes. Hurricanes, droughts, and superstorms would rage with unprecedented fury. Earth's climate system, already fragile, would spiral into chaos. But there's a twist. What if the second sun wasn't like ours? Stars come in many forms. A small red dwarf might cast a dim glow, less heat, but longer lifespan. A massive blue giant, however, would burn hotter, flooding Earth with lethal radiation. Life as we know it couldn't survive such extremes. DNA would be shredded by ultraviolet rays, oceans might boil. The atmosphere itself could be stripped away, leaving behind a barren rock. In this version of Earth, humanity wouldn't stand a chance. Yet, despite the dangers, nature is full of surprises. Life is adaptable. On a two-sun Earth, evolution might take a different path. Plants could evolve to handle constant sunlight with new pigments to protect against radiation. Animals might become nocturnal not because of darkness, but because of survival, hiding underground or underwater during the blazing twin days. Humans, too, would need to adapt. Technology would become our shield, vast domes to block the light, artificial nights created by machines, genetic engineering to resist radiation. Survival would demand nothing less than reinvention. And then comes the cultural impact. Imagine a world where two suns dominate every story, every religion, every myth. Ancient humans worshipped one sun as a god. With two, perhaps they would see a cosmic battle, a divine marriage, or eternal duality written in the sky. Art, philosophy, even language would evolve differently. Our very idea of time, of light and darkness, would be rewritten by two stars shining down on us. A double sunrise might be breathtaking, but it would also remind us daily of our fragile place in the cosmos. So the question isn't just whether Earth could survive with two suns. The deeper question is, could humanity? Could we adapt to endless light, unpredictable seasons, crushing heat? Or would we crumble, another casualty of cosmic forces beyond our control? In the end, two suns might bring not only destruction, but transformation, a test of whether intelligence and resilience can outshine even the harshest of skies. So far, we've seen the chaos two suns could unleash unstable orbits, relentless heat, endless daylight. But let's push the thought experiment further. What if Earth not only survived, but adapted? Could humanity carve out a future under twin stars? Or would we be doomed to extinction? Another fragile world burned away in cosmic fire. Let's start with the most extreme outcome: collapse. In this scenario, Earth's orbit destabilizes completely. Pulled by the competing gravity of two stars, our planet is thrown into a wildly elongated path. For centuries, Earth swings close to one sun, boiling oceans and scorching continents, only to be hurled outward into deep space, where temperatures plummet and ice returns with a vengeance. Life is shredded by extremes. Civilizations rise during the brief windows of stability, and then vanish when the pendulum swings again. Humanity, if it survives at all, retreats underground, clinging to survival in artificial habitats while the surface turns uninhabitable. A bleak vision, yet one rooted in real astrophysics. Now imagine a different possibility: balance. In some binary systems, planets orbit both stars at once, circling them like a cosmic dance partner. If Earth fell into such a path, and if the suns were the right size and distance, our world might remain inside the so-called Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold. Here, Earth could stabilize under twin stars. Days would be brighter, nights shorter, but life might adjust. Agriculture could adapt to longer growing seasons. Humans could build new technologies to shield against radiation, and culturally, we would thrive beneath the beauty of two sunsets. Imagine standing on a beach, watching not one, but two golden orbs sink into the horizon. Awe and wonder would become part of daily life. But there's another extreme. What if one of those suns were massive, far larger than our current star? A blue giant, for example, radiates with fierce intensity, burning millions of times brighter than our Sunday. Such a star lives fast and dies young, exploding in a violent supernova after only a few million years. If Earth orbited such a giant alongside our current sun, the result would be catastrophic. Not only would radiation levels skyrocket, sterilizing the surface, but eventually the giant would collapse in a blaze, so powerful it could strip Earth's atmosphere or even obliterate the planet entirely. In this timeline, our home is nothing more than cosmic ash scattered across the void. And yet, the most fascinating outcome might be transformation. Imagine humanity forced to reinvent itself, to rise to the challenge of twin suns. We might build vast orbital shields, artificial satellites designed to dim the light and control the heat. Cities could move underground, powered by geothermal energy, shielded from radiation. Genetic engineering might allow future humans to resist higher radiation, to function without sleep cycles, to thrive under endless daylight. Plants could be modified to grow stronger, faster, under constant photosynthesis. What emerges from this struggle might not be the humanity we know, but something new, something born under the fire of two suns. A civilization more resilient, more advanced, forever shaped by the dual stars above. And then comes the philosophical question. What would two suns mean for our place in the universe? For all of history, humans have defined time, culture, even spirituality by the cycle of a single Sunday. With two, our myths would change. Would we worship the suns as twin gods? Would we see them as rivals, locked in eternal struggle? Or as partners, a symbol of balance and duality? Every sunrise and sunset would become a spectacle, a reminder of cosmic forces greater than ourselves. Perhaps under two suns, humanity would feel both smaller and more connected to the vastness of the universe. In the end, the fate of a two-sun Earth depends on chance. The size of the stars, the distance between them, the orbit of our planet, a fragile equation where the slightest imbalance tips us toward paradise or apocalypse. That's the beauty and the terror of this thought experiment. Two suns could give us a brighter, longer-lasting home, or they could erase us in a flash of cosmic fire. And until we find another Earth orbiting twin stars, we can only imagine which path is more likely. So, could we survive under two suns? The honest answer? Maybe. But if history tells us anything, it's that humanity doesn't just survive, it adapts. And in a universe filled with billions of stars, some of them already paired in binary systems, perhaps somewhere out there, life is already living under twin suns, watching two dawns, surviving two nights, and thriving in ways we can barely imagine. Two suns, one Earth. What began as a simple question has unfolded into a vision of chaos, beauty, and survival. We've seen how twin stars could tear our orbit apart, boiling seas and freezing continents. We've imagined endless days without night, where life struggles to rest, to grow, to endure. And we've explored extremes, deserts spreading across the globe, oceans vanishing in steam, or humanity reinventing itself beneath the glow of eternal daylight. But perhaps the most powerful truth of this thought experiment is not whether Earth could survive, but how fragile and yet adaptable life truly is. One small change in the cosmos, one extra sun in our sky, and everything we know, our history, our future, our very biology would transform. The universe reminds us again and again that stability is rare, balance is precious, and the home we take for granted, orbiting one modest star, is already a cosmic miracle. Still, the question lingers. Somewhere out there, in the billions of star systems across our galaxy, does a world like this exist? A planet warmed by two suns? Its skies forever painted by double dawns and twin sunsets? And if so, what kind of life calls it home? Perhaps, even now, alien civilizations are thriving under conditions we would find impossible. Perhaps the story of two suns isn't just science fiction, it's someone else's reality. For us, Earth remains a world of one star, a fragile blue dot, perfectly balanced, where life has flourished for billions of years. Two suns would bring unimaginable change. But one thing is certain, humanity's curiosity, our drive to imagine, to explore, to question the impossible, that's what keeps us looking up. That's what brings us closer to the stars. So, what do you think? Could Earth survive under two suns? Would you want to live in such a world? Or would it be a nightmare without end? Share your thoughts in the comments below because this conversation is just the beginning. And if you want more journeys into the mysteries of space, more mind-bending what-ifs that challenge the limits of science and imagination, make sure to subscribe and join us as we continue exploring the universe, one impossible question at a time. This was Earth with two suns, and the cosmos is full of even stranger possibilities waiting for us to uncover